What's up, more it's Special Guardia, and welcome to part 2 of What If Itadori Had No Limits. So, the series is well received, so I'm going to do the second part of this What If, and after this part, I'm going to continue the second series which is What If Naruto was a censor. The first part was good, and I'm going to do the second part in the next video. So, anyways, I'm not gonna do some flashbacks. If you guys want to know the previous video, just go in the link in the description below or in the cards up above about about the previous video. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get watching. So the story would start off after Itadori would be accepted into Jujutsu Tech, and he would be brought by Gojo to the room where he would meet Fushiguro again. And after that, Gojo would take both Itadori and Fushiguro to the Tokyo station, where they would see a girl bullying a man. And when Gojo calls that girl over and introduces her, we meet Kugisaki Nobara. And Kugisaki Nobara, after seeing Itadori and Fushiguro, just thinks of them as some kind of lame people, but she doesn't know who Itadori really is. But Itadori feels familiar to her. Anyways, after that, Gojo decides to go to Roppongi, where they go and they come in front of a building where they have to exercise for the first time. Not exercise. Basically, fighting the spirit off. Basically, like killing the spirit off. Yeah. Anyways, Nobara then gets to know about Itadori, about how he swallowed the finger and how he got Sakuna's power as well as Itadori. And then she remembers him as a limitless boy. Hearing this, Itadori is annoyed, and when asked about it, Itadori just says that everyone knows him about this, which is kind of annoying at this point. But Kugisaki underestimates Itadori, just like in canon, because she doesn't believe that rumor, and because from her experience, there's no person who can break through the limits or who isn't born with the limits, so she thinks that it is fake. So anyways, they would go, Itadori and Kugisaki would go inside the building and they would split up, and Itadori would find a curse, and Itadori would punching the freaking soul out of it, killing it. Oh yeah, Itadori's normal punch can easily kill grade 2 and grade 2 and grade 3 souls easily, but he has to use his full normal punch full normal series to end grade 1. But for serious series, he can defeat the low special grade, and super serious is high special grade. And the destroyer is basically Gojo. Okay, destroyer is specifically made for Gojo and Sakuna when Sakuna gets his full power, which is going to be later in the series. Yes, Sakuna is going to get his full power, but yeah, spoiler alert by the way. Anyways, Itadori punches the freaking soul out of it, and Yuji then continues and also comes across various curses where he would punch the curses to oblivion. Now, Nobara finds her curse and also exercises her with her curse technique, that being the resonance. Her curse technique using hammer and needles. Yeah, she uses the resonance, that stuff. And that's when she sees a child who's scared, but she decides to just leave the child here. And when the child asks for help, that's when an intelligent curse spirit appears and takes the boy hostage. After Kogisaki thinking about a bit, she surrenders, but that's when Itadori kind of senses a grade 3 spirit on the other side of this room, and he then punches through the wall and breaks it and walks through. Yuji analyzes the situation and grabs the kid, taking him away from the spirit, and the spirit tries to run away, but Yuji, who has the kid in his arms, speeds up and comes in front of it and punches it into oblivion. After seeing this, Kugisaki just thinks, this guy just punched a curse, no curse energy, nothing, just punched a curse into oblivion. That's the rumors that he didn't have limits might be true. After she thinks about it, she kind of gets scared of Yuji, but she still thanks him. And yeah, the kid also thinks that Yuji is Superman and thanks him. So Nobara, after coming from a shock, also apologizes to Yuji and thanks her. And then the crew meet back up and go eat something. So in the trio come to a reform school a couple of days later after hearing a news about a potentially special grade. Gojo decides to let the trio handle it while he goes on a business trip. A man named Ichiji Kyotaka explains the situation to them, explains the current situation to them, and then a student mother comes and inquires about her son, and this kind of affects Itadori a little but he decides to check if her son is okay. So Megumi, Kugisaki and Itadori go inside the school and they realize something is wrong. When looking back, they realize that the door that they came in is closed and they are trapped. After realizing that the door is closed, Kugisaki kind of freaks out and Itadori just raises his eyebrow, not really caring about it much. But Fushiguro realizes that the dormitory has expanded due to the magical force and due to the magic force, and both Kugisaki is kind of scared what is happening, but that's when Fushiguro reminds them about his dog, which gets a jerky from Kugisaki, but Itadori just shrugs it off like nothing has happened. But Itadori just compliments Fushiguro that he's very reliable, and Megumi kind of gets blushing, and yeah, they go forward. After then, a couple of minutes later, Itadori finds dead bodies. And after discussing about it, Itadori finds a body with the name Okazaki Tadashi, the son of the woman who inquired about him before. And Itadori kind of decides to take the body back, while Kugisaki and Megumi, you could say, Kugisaki and Megumi retaliate, but Fushiguro decides to take Itadori, and Itadori kind of snaps out of his demeanor while Fushiguro says to leave it, and that's when Kugisaki, who comes to solve their when they are staring at each other, Kugisaki comes in between to kind of solve them, but that's when a portal opens inside of her leg and she gets dragged out. And when they realize what is going on, Megumi decides to see what is Jade Hound is doing, which is buried inside a damn hole, and that's when Megumi wants Itadori to run and they would find Kugisaki later, but both Itadori and Fushiguro sends a cursed spirit, which is a high grade, not a special grade by the way, a high grade spirits which paralyzes Megumi, but Itadori just turns it and throws a punch which the cursed spirit would get hit without even knowing, and it would be sent back due to the fact that Itadori is much stronger than high grade spirits at this point. I mean, his normal power is not up to the high grade spirit, but you would understand as the power goes on. Anyways, Kugisaki can feel. Now let's go to Kugisaki. She first can't identify where she is, but then she can feel a cursed presence, and when she turns around, she sees many faces, more or less. And Itadori tells Itadori tells Fushiguro to just get lost, I mean get away, while he would do his stuff. He would like beat the shit out of this grade while he go and find. I mean yeah, Itadori tells Fushiguro that he will take care of this part, while Fushiguro should go and find Kugisaki. Fushiguro reluctantly agrees because he still doesn't know just how strong Itadori is, even if Gojo knows how strong he is. So that's why he uses Chimera, basically the hawk summoning which he has, and runs towards you could say runs towards where Kugisaki is. Now let's go to Kugisaki. Due to the fact that Itadori is keeping the high grade spirit busy, let's go to Fushiguro. Fushiguro finds Kugisaki and sees Fushiguro sees Kugisaki a little beaten up and uses his frog summoning to summon her into Frog's mouth. And after that, Fushiguro takes Kugisaki out of the building, and the assistant named Ichiji Kiyotaka brings. After Fushiguro kind of defeats them. I don't know if they defeated in the manga and the anime. They didn't really say it, so I'm just gonna think that they haven't exercised it. So they would just run away, while Fushiguro and Kugisaki would run away and would reach Ichichi, where Kugisaki would be handed to Ichichi, while Megumi would take a break. And that's when, let's go to, you know who, Itadori. Now after punching the cursed spirit out of the room, Itadori would jump out and would see the cursed spirit fine. This would kind of excite him because every cursed spirit that is met till now, just one punch got killed. Maybe this could be any interesting, and because since his goal is to fight full power and enjoy it, as well as take all the fingers in, and if he's gonna get killed, he's gonna take someone with him. So he would the high grade spirit would wake up and would have a smirk on his face overconfidently, because he thinks that Itadori can't really do anything to him. So he would come in front of Itadori to land a punch, but Itadori would block it and give a kick towards the cursed spirit, which would send it flying, but the cursed spirit would land on safely. And after that, both of them would give punches and kicks to each other, due to the fact that Itadori's normal mode is not strong enough to beat high grade spirits. Yet that means he would get stronger, but don't worry about that. He wouldn't be able to fight with high grade spirits and with his normal sense. So he decides to go step it up a notch and goes towards serious series, and he says serious mode, serious punch, and then he punches a hole through the great spirit, which kind of hurts the great spirit because it can get hurt due to the fact that it's a spirit. And because anyways, but his reverse technique, that his reverse curse technique, basically what reverse curse technique means is he would heal the cursed spirit, or whoever used it, back to full health, or at the cost of the cursed energy. Basically what it is, more comfortably I can explain it is, by using by sacrificing some of the cursed energy inside the body, you would heal your body at your own pace. That's called reverse curse technique, basically healing your body. And this would kind of intrigue Itadori, because he hasn't seen this regeneration, and maybe he can have fun with this, and he would start punching over and over again to the curse spirit, and the curse spirit would regenerate over and over again, causing his reverse curse technique to become stronger. And Itadori would get annoyed at this point because he was punching and just not dying yet, and the cursed spirit is just trying to attack him over and over and over again. So Itadori would realize that he just needs to end it, but that's when the cursed spirit would punch him, and Itadori would finally get annoyed and says, "Damn you, you fucking ant. Stop bothering me. I mean, stop annoying me." And he would throw a punch at the cursed spirit, but that's when it would be imbued with cursed energy. If you guys don't understand how the hell Itadori was able to use cursed energy in his punch, it's simple. Cursed energy is basically using your I'm sorry. Itadori, cursed energy is basically using your negative emotions to fuel your body. Basically, using your negative emotions as power. And since Itadori is pissed right now, I mean annoyed more or less, not pissed. Annoyed, he can use cursed energy, but just for a little while. So this one punch was the cursed energy was able to do. So after this, Itadori would realize that he has used the curse energy, which Fushiguro, Kugisaki, and Gojo were talking about, and since he couldn't do that, he was kind of left out. But since he can do it, he's kind of happy, and he tries. And when he sees back to the curse spirit, it isn't regenerating, which is kind of interesting. So Itadori decides to use it again. So he tries to punch the damn soul again, but the curse energy doesn't really happen. So he decides to focus on it. He thinks it's like an anime energy where you could focus on it and get it, but it really doesn't happen. So he just gives up and decides to end this by using a super series punch. But that's when he remembers something. Oh yeah, I have a goddamn cursed energy bundle inside my body. And Itadori would have like a forgetful moment, like what the fuck moment, and he would just knock in his chest and say, "Hey, you there inside Sakuna? I need your help." And Itadori would close his eye, but that's when the curse spirit, which would just get up, having been injured a lot due to Itadori, would throw a punch, but time would slow down for Itadori while he would conversate with Sakuna. Now, Sakuna, with his almighty chair, would sit and, kind of acting confidence, would ask, "What do you want, brat?" Itadori would just say, "Well, I need your help with, the curse spirit, just exercise it for me." That's when Sakuna would ask, "What if I won't?" Itadori would stare at Sakuna for 2 seconds, which would intimidate Sakuna because he realizes that he Itadori kind of scares Sakuna at this point. So like looking at it, Sakuna's kind of scared, but he still keeps his composure. But that's when Itadori shrugs and says, "Okay, if you don't want to help, then sure." He would just turn, but that's when Sakuna would say, "Okay, I'll do it." Itadori would turn back and say, "What? I'll do it." Sakuna would say, "And I do need to stretch, so yeah, give me the damn body." Itadori would just shrug because he knows he can take it anytime, and the switch would happen while the curse spirit would attack him, and that's when Itadori would catch the curse spirit while a bloodlust would spread around the cursed spirit, and that's when Itadori would say, "You're such an annoying brat." And Itadori would think, Sakuna, who's currently inside Itadori's body, would stretch and decides to take it as long as possible. So he would play with the cursed spirit for a couple of minutes, but he would get bored. So he would. But that's when the cursed spirit would use the Kamehameha stuff that he did, shooting fire energy, which Itadori would just keep his hand out and would just say, "Serious cursed punch." Basically, it's the combination of serious punch and cursed energy, which Sakuna just bought it on a whim. So he punches the energy, shredding the soul. It's like Boro One Punch Man. Like, yeah, it's basically like that. using a series, he would punch the beam that is coming through him, which would split the beam as well as injure cursed energy and cursed spirit. And since Sakuna is using the cursed spirit, cursed energy, I mean, Sakuna is using the cursed energy with the series punch, it kind of eliminates the cursed spirit, and that's when Sakuna would walk towards Itadori, and I mean, not Itadori, to the defeated cursed spirit. And that's when he would say, he would look around the demon's body because he senses something, but that's when he takes out a finger and then he says, I'm done. So if you're gonna just switch with me, then do it. And the marks that that are in Itadori's body would slowly dissipate, and Itadori would be back in control. And after that, now let's go to Fushiguro, who has just sent what is his name? Yeah, Ishiji. Basically, Kyotaka, the guy, the assistant, to take care of Kugisaki, who is currently injured, while he waits for Itadori. Itadori would just walk out of the mansion, I mean the dormitory, and he would say, "Let's go." And then Megumi would ask, "What about the high grade spirit?" Itadori would raise his eyebrow, and that would be all the answer that Fushiguro needs. But that's when Itadori would, from his pocket, would take out the finger, and he would say, "What do you want me to do with this?" Megumi would get shocked, and he would think, that's why the high grade spirit was so strong, because it had the finger of Sakuna at this point. Itadori, not knowing what Megumi is thinking, just thinks of it as Megumi wanting Itadori to eat it. So he just shrugs and puts it in his mouth and swallows it. And Megumi comes out of his stupor, thinking a lot, and then sees Itadori swallowing something, and he realizes that Itadori has swallowed the second finger, and it tastes still crap, but yeah, Itadori would just say that tastes crap, and Megumi would say, "Why did you do that?" Itadori would say, "Well, that's my job, I have to take in all the cursed spirits. After that, when your elders would decide to kill me, I'll die, I guess." And Megumi would just sigh, but not liking the fact that they didn't console Gojo Sensei someone, and Itadori just melted, and the fact that Itadori is like having a death sentence upon his head. So yeah, and due to the fact that Itadori has not been knocked out, so Sakuna isn't able to forcefully take Itadori's body, meaning that there's now the whole scene where Sakuna takes Itadori's heart and takes the brat hostage, and yeah, after that, Itadori and Fushiguro would come back to the Jujutsu Tech, and the story would continue. Where the story would continue is, a couple of days later, all three first years are sitting in a shrine near Jujutsu Tech, and just thinking about stuff, how they kind of fought with a high grade, and Itadori just one-shotted it to oblivion. And yeah, but that's when Maki would come in, and she would see this depressed state for all three of them and ask someone is dead or something. But that's when Panda would tell them that that Panda would come and introduce himself, and Itadori and Kogisaki would ask who they are, and that's when Fushiguro would introduce them as the second year senpais, that being Zenin Maki, Inumaki Toge, and Panda. And that's when the Panda would tell them about the Kyoto Sister School Exchange, and about the way how and what happens. And Itadori will agree because he wants to have a challenge, and just like that, Megumi and Fushiguro and Kogisaki would also agree, and That's when Gojo would come in and would explain about the new training, where the senpais would train the two newbies. He would train uh, Itadori. And when Panda would ask why the specialty, uh, that's when Gojo would say, "This guy is a monster. His power is unimaginable. He can't be trained by the likes of you guys." Anyways, sorry about that, like the whole description thing, but still, he is strong. He needs someone strong to spar with. And the two senpais don't know who Itadori is except for the fact that he is a Sakuna vessel. So they just agree what Gojo is saying, and that's when Itadori and Gojo would start fighting. Now, since Itadori isn't dead, Gojo is in the funeral or something like that. Meaning Gojo is able to completely train Itadori. Now, due to the fact that Itadori is training Gojo is training Itadori a lot earlier. Kind of earlier, at the same time, doesn't really matter. The whole cursed energy, Itadori would learn about the cursed energy. Gojo would give the definition of the cursed energy, that being the magical power and the technique. And he would explain how and what would work. And yes, and he would explain how and the strengths and weaknesses of Yuji, as well as he would explain how curse energy would work, which Itadori won't understand. But and after learning that he can't use sorcery, it kind of disappoints Yuji. But after Gojo tells him about his close combat, stands out, he can well, and that's when Yuji would tell him about how he can use curse energy, and that's when Gojo would test it, but Itadori wouldn't be able to do it with just a normal punch, just a small punch with cursed energy. And after explaining about how you can use cursed energy, basically the source of magical power or the source of cursed energy is negative emotions, meaning when he was full of anger or fear, whatever his emotions was. Itadori would say he was just mostly angry, but yes. But that's when Gojo would show him about his the different ways of training, and that's the movie appreciation. Basically, seeing movie and it's gonna be super annoying. Where it's gonna be just that with the creepy doll which is gonna punch him, but Itadori really doesn't get hurt, but it just disturbs his concentration. So it kind of does the job instead of just getting hurt like Itadori would normally. It just Itadori gets punched by the doll, which breaks his concentration. Yeah, that's all. And Gojo would explain that the minimal degree of cursed energy, he has to maintain a constant flow of cursed energy while cursed energy without any interruption, and if he interrupts, the doll would attack him. Now, that's when Fushiguro and Kugisaki would be training with the senpais, while Kushiguro and Fugisaki would be training with the senpais and stuff like that. Now, since Itadori and Sadakuna and Fushiguro never had a fight, Fushiguro doesn't realize that he needs to take it seriously. The fact that Fushiguro might be able to win against a high grade curse, Fushiguro didn't know that, and due to Sakuna not even telling him that, he wouldn't know that. So Fushiguro would still have that same conviction because he saw just how useless he was, and Itadori, who was like the same age as he was able to easily defeat a high grade curse. So Itadori, while watching movies, he would put curse energy, and mostly it would go over there. Now Gojo would leave Itadori to do his own devices, while he would go towards the school, more or less the appointment with the school principal. But that's when Gojo would stop the car, and he would tell what is his name? He would tell Kyotaka to go and drive alone without him, while just letting him do his stuff. But that Gojo would wait, and that's when someone would attack him, and that would be Jogo. Now Jogo would want to prove his superiority with Gojo, and he would just attack Gojo, but that wouldn't really happen. He would attack with his curse energy, I forgot what is curse, basically volcano stuff. Yeah, Jogo thinks that Gojo is nothing, but then that's when Gojo sees the fucking name. Basically, the curse spirit Jogo, and I'll just call Gojo Satoru from now on. So Satoru would demonish Jogo, and that's when he would decide to have a training section with Itadori, and he would just disappear while beating the shit. He would explain his infinity, which he has explained it already, and he would basically destroy the cursed spirit, and but not kill him, because he would take time to bring Itadori, and Itadori would kind of be confused since he was kind of sleeping or concentrating while you could say while watching the movies, due to the fact that he was constantly putting cursed energy. And yeah, Gojo would take Itadori and just drag out Itadori to teach him about the sorcery battle, the domain expansion or territorial expansion, whatever. After Gojo brings Itadori, he would explain what territorial expansion is. That being an area where the curse energy would be surrounding, and yeah, magical energy is used as a construct for an innate territory with this technique that spans around the surrounding area. So Itadori would just ask, "You want me to fight him?" Now this would confuse Gojo for a second, but then he would have a wide smile because he wants to see Itadori's progress. He would say, "Go on." Itadori would crack his knuckles and then just disappear in front of him and come in front of Gojo and punch him, saying, serious punch. This punch would hurt Jogo a lot more than what Satoru did. Satoru punched him for, and this would also destroy the Iron Coffin Mountain, basically the territorial expansion. The territorial expansion would break because of the fact that his curse technique was disrupted. So yes. After that, Jogo would be shocked about the fact that this kid has this much power, but Itadori would not really be a guy to talk, so he would just do what he just learned right now. Use his anger and frustrations to use curse energy. Due to the fact that all these years he is frustrated for the fact that there's no enemy who can fight him. He used that frustrations and anger that there's no one equal to him as curse energy, and that's when he punches Jogo, and then he finally creates the Divergent Fist. If you guys don't know what Divergent Fist is, it's basically due to the fact that his magical power is not an instantaneous output. His technique comes out late, and then so he has to since his magical power is unrefined, also it has to leave tracks. So due to that, he's creating an irregular flow of magic power. So when he hits, his magical power strikes first and then he strikes. Basically it's a double cure. So in one blow, twice the impact is born, and that is called the Divergent Fist. So due to this fist basically hitting Gojo, it would destroy him, and Itadori would decide to have a fun with Jogo while training him. So he would just hit Divergent Fist over and over again, which would completely decimate Jogo to the point where Jogo would want to run away, but Itadori isn't letting him, because Itadori is using Jogo as a training punching bag, more or less. And that's when Itadori would decide enough is enough. But I mean, what is his name? Yes. What is his name? Yeah, Satoru would decide enough is enough, and he would tell Itadori to stop it. And that's when he would show his territorial expansion. That being the infinite void. I'm sorry, it is called im, immeasurable void. Immeasurable void. Basically, where he can feel and see everything. That is the interior of the boundless perception and communication that force you to repeatedly do what is necessary to survive. And Gojo would just stare off Jogo's head and then throw it and ask Jogo again what his matter is. Itadori would be kind of amazed at this domain expansion, and then he would remember Sakuna also did his domain expansion, so maybe he can talk to Sakuna and figure out how he could do his domain expansion or something. So yeah, but that's when Itadori would flowers would you could say flower would attack Gojo, but Gojo would dodge it. But that's when flower bloom would happen, which would uh, weaken his spirit, fighting spirit for both Gojo and Itadori. But that's when someone would come, that being Nanami. If I remember the guy with the flower curse spirit, yeah. I forgot what his name was. I'll tell in the next episode. Basically, the guy with the bandaged hand. So yeah, he would save Jogo and run away while Itadori would get attacked by a plant. But Itadori would just stretch his legs, which would destroy the plant. But it would still make up for the fact that Gojo has let. Basically, the spirit has is good at erasing their presence, and yeah, that's when both Itadori and Jogo would realize that they kind of had to go to him. But that's when Itadori would, since Itadori knows what the curse spirit is, I mean, what is the exchange is, Gojo doesn't need to tell him. But since Gojo is, late towards the appointment of Principal Naga. So anyways, that's all for this episode, guys. If you guys like this video, like, share, subscribe, do the necessary stuff. And if you don't, I can understand. Peace out.